Oh, you're here. What's up, everybody? I am back with a brand new YouTube video for you guys that you actually chose because of the poll on my Twitter, so that was kind of cool. The topic of today's YouTube upload is cartoon conspiracies. Very happy about that. So, without further ado, let's jump right into them. First one up is the SpongeBob 7 Deadly Sins conspiracy theory. The theory states that the main cast of SpongeBob SquarePants are actually based on the 7 deadly sins. Let's start breaking them down. We have Squidward, who equals wrath. Squidward is usually angry at everyone. He hates his life. He hates SpongeBob. He hates Patrick. That checks out. Then you have Mr. Krabs, who would represent greed. Come on. That is absolutely the truth. I mean, the guy is all about the cash. He all about the money. I believe in an alternate universe, Mr. Krabs is actually Bernie Mac's character from Players Club. Think about it. We have Plankton, who would represent envy. He's envious against Mr. Krabs because his restaurant is trash. It's unsuccessful. Meanwhile, he's constantly trying to steal the secret to the Krusty Krab. You have Gary representing Gluttony. Now, I never actually thought about this one because I guess the joke went over my head a million times. Apparently, there's an ongoing gag within the series of SpongeBob saying that he has to either feed Gary or he forgot to feed Gary. I do recall the episode where Gary was leaving SpongeBob to go with Patrick, all because Patrick had a cookie in his pocket. You have Patrick Star representing Sloth. I mean, duh. He's lazy. He stays underneath his rock all the time. Sandy representing Pride. I could see that. She's always going on and on about being from Texas. Is Sandy's last name Cheeks? Fact checking. Sandy's last name is actually Cheeks. Totally forgot about that. Last but not least, you have SpongeBob representing lust. I don't actually get that one. I mean, SpongeBob lusting over people or himself? I'm not actually... Life, maybe? I could see that. SpongeBob lusting over life. I don't know. What do you guys think about the SpongeBob theory? Does it check out? Do each and every single one of those characters represent the 7 deadly sins? You guys let me know. I'll leave a poll in the corner. Yes or no? By the way, you guys may have seen the mocking SpongeBob meme going viral. I gotta be honest. This one takes the cake. I don't care what you say. This is still funny. The next theory I want to talk about is the Ed, and Eddy living in the Purgatory theory. Now, this one is just a little creepy to think about. Supposedly, all the kids in the cul-de-sac represent a certain time in history, each one of them being dead from whatever seemed to be going on at the time. Supposedly, Rolf the farmer represents the 1900s. The theory is supposedly he got trampled by his farm animals. The second up is Johnny 2x4. He's supposed to represent the 1920s and he died from tuberculosis. Wow. And then there's Mr. Finesser Schemer himself, Eddy, representing the 1930s and the Great Depression. Eddy was just trying to stay alive. He tried to make a quick buck any way he could. Say what you want, Eddy was a hustler and I respect it. The theory is supposedly he scammed the wrong people and they drowned him in the lake. Next comes Ed and Sarah, the brother and sister of the great series. They're said to represent the 1950s, a time where comic books and things like that took off to kind of help kids take their mind off of whatever was happening at the time in the world. The theory is that they died in a car accident. Naz is said to represent the late 1960s, early 1970s, a flower child, if you will. Don't really want to speak on what happened to Naz. Moving on. Next comes the beanie-wearing Double D, the scientific nerd. He's said to represent the 1980s, where science was taking off. People were becoming more aware of different ways to be involved in the science field. He may have blown up the house. That's the theory. Then there's that hard-ass Kevin, Red Hat, aka the animated version of Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, if you ask me. Supposedly, Kevin is supposed to represent middle America white trash? Fuck. You guys have a lot of time on your hands. And last but not least, Sarah's little friend with the braces and the retainer, Jimmy. He's said to have been born in the 2000s and passed away from leukemia. That was really depressing. I'll never watch Ed, and Eddy the same anymore. The last theory I've come to, I've noticed that no one else has ever spoken about. There's nothing on the internet about it, which is really crazy to me. There's an old Rugrats episode where Angelica's mother comes home and she announces that she's having a baby. The entire episode is Angelica visualizing what it's gonna be like to have a sibling. You remember that big ass baby? He goes, num nums. Shit still scares me. He takes Angelica's cookies. He eats Angelica when she's in the car. Still a very, very creepy episode. But that's not the creepy theory. The creepy theory I've noticed is that at the very end of the episode, she announces that she's not having a kid. So did Angelica's mother have a miscarriage? That seems a little deep for a kid show on Nickelodeon in the mid-90s. Don't you think? Those are just 3 quick cartoon conspiracies that I wanted to touch on. But hey, if I missed any, please let me know. Leave a comment. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for voting on the poll on Twitter for this particular video. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment. If this is your first time visiting my page, make sure you guys subscribe. I have a lot more videos on the way.